Hey guys, this is Crap Hunter and welcome back to World of Tanks. Woo! In this video we will be having a look at the KV1-S. This is a tank which kind of needs no introduction because many of you players have heard about this vehicle or probably seen it on the battlefield. However, for those who haven't, let us have a look. Probably would pay to have it on. Actually, let's go nation USSR. Cool. So. Here we go. No, don't click on battle. That's too early. Yes, so this is the Tier 6 heavy tank, a choice of 3 heavy tanks if you came from the KV1 line. You do have other options. You have the ability to go either KV2 or T150, both of which are good tanks, but really the most popular and by far the most useful, in my opinion at least, is the KV1-S. She is a lighter and more upgraded version, as it says in the vehicle details. You can see that. Lighter and upgraded version of the KV1. That's that sucker. Total of 13,000. Sorry, 13,000! That's how many there were. No, basically 1,370 versus 148. And another cool thing about this tank is she actually teaches you how to be more of an effective player on the Tier 7, 8 and 9 games. Now, the reason why I say this with such ferocity is because the design and the style of gameplay which you use to dictate this vehicle is pretty much the same upon you get this gun for the next few tiers. If we look at the hang on, there you go. If we look at the IS with its D25 main cannon, you can see the same caliber. It's the same caliber. If you go into research and go look up IS3, you'll no doubt know that the caliber of the guns from the D25T to the D25T to the BL9 is the same kind of caliber. The only difference being is that one is more accurate, or at least one can now fire a lot more. And then it goes on to this, which means it has the same rate of fire as before, but now has better penetration and better accuracy. And if you go to the IS-8, which is more popular, you'll either have that, so that means you'll have that, and then you'll be able to work with the 122 M62T2, which basically means your gun is now as good as a German Tier 6 tank, but let's not think about that. And then eventually you get onto the IS-7, which apparently, although is a very good tank, is not as good as it apparently used to be, but this view, I digress. This is all about the KV1-S. Now, of course, wrong tank. Now, of course, this tank is, some people say that this is overpowered, and other people say that this thing isn't, some people say that this thing's equally powered or not powered enough, whatever. I'm more of the mind that this thing is a great teaching instrument, because you'll no doubt be relieved to, realize that this thing it's a significant upgrade from the KV1. I mean, it's a great upgrade. Honestly, when I got this thing, it was so nice. Obviously when I got the cannon, it was even better. But just being in this tank is, it's quite nice. It's definitely an upgrade. You definitely feel that there's a definite improvement when you're driving this thing. Because no doubt any of you KV1 drivers will know, the traversity speed and the low speed limit means that you will not move very fast in this thing. It's a major pain in the arse, even with the top engine. But even with the top engine in this tank, you actually move slightly faster than usual, which is quite impressive. So, with all that said, let's get to the stats. Now, 810 hit points. Okay, before I go on, I'm going to just state that this tank has some big disadvantages in some aspects, but amazing advantages in another. So bear with me when I'm going through all this listing. So 810 hit points. Now, for those players out there who haven't really played other tanks and don't really know how it goes, then yeah, 810 hit points is quite an upgrade. But that said, it's only about, when you start out with a tank, when you haven't got the upgraded turret, it's about 760. That's only 120 upgraded hit points from the KV1. And even if you upgrade to the top tier thing, it's a definite improvement. But there are tanks out there that are better than you quite easily. Now, we're not going to compare the T150 and the KV2 because both have the same kind of hit points, and I don't actually have the tanks. More of the second reason, more important than the first, but whatever. But But we can check out the top health for, or the first bit of health for the M6. The reason why I say this is because it's 840. That's not good, is it? No. The M6 has more hit points than you on a first turret, and it has an upgradable turret. The Americans do have the... It's either all that lard in those massively packed burger... I reckon most of it is just deep fries and burgers and pizzas and all the things that make Americans fat, but whatever. No dissing to Americans, they have awesome tanks. To the Churchill Mark 6, sorry, 7. Yes, if I knew my Roman numerals, the world, and my English as well. Ooh. 800 hit points off the top beat. So okay, you have 10 hit points down, but this thing has an upgradable turret, which means it has more health than you, unfortunately. Although Germany doesn't have any heavies by this point in the game, even with the new tiering and of artillery and all that, the VK3601H has 850. Yeah, sorry. So that's an upgrade. The French, I don't know about, I'm afraid, at tier 6, the ARL-44, but they do have 780, which definitely gives the impression that that ARL-44 turret probably gives you more. Now, of course, everyone knows the French tech tree has tanks have low health. I don't know why the French have low health, but they do. It's something which has puzzled me for a long time. I mean, it's good to know this, because when you start facing those little bastards up there, and those little bastards, and those two little bastards, and all of those little tiny little bastards, then, including him, then you kind of are glad. At tier 6, however, you do not have to face any heavy, well, type 58. Well, we'll look at what kind of health the thing has. 720, so no, I don't think the type 58 has the health advantage that you do. So, okay, so they hit points wise, the KV1-S doesn't have much hit points. But there are some tiny advantages. Well, there are advantages, but for example, the weight load limit. Now, if we go back to the KV1, you're looking at nearly 50 tons, or 49.5 tons worth of tank. And I have only got one upgrade to this thing. However, if you... So, yeah, however, the KV1S with no upgrades, 43 tons. Now, I did have all the equipment in this tank, and it still reached its 43 kph limit really fast, because it has 600 horsepower, which makes this tank a surprisingly nimble tank. That's what I mean by a definite upgrade, because when you're in the KV1, you can, you're not as slow as a Churchill, thank Christ, but you will feel the speed reduction in this. You know you're in a heavy tank when you can't roll around really fast. With this tank, you know you're in a heavy... You're surprised by how the fact that this is a heavy tank, but you're not really heavy. It's one of those cool things that the Russians did that made this tank really fast, and I like it. I like that in this vehicle. So, phone ringing in the background. Anyway, so, the traverse speed as well is a definite improvement, because now, instead of it being 20, meaning that you take ice ages to turn, you actually can turn relatively quickly. And this also can be helped by the driver's perk system, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, I'll go into hull armor in a second, but in this way, this is another kind of disadvantage. The view range for the top turret as well is 330. Now that's kind of bad. When you compare it to its American counterpart, which is the M6, and we can actually check out its top view range, 350. That's 20 better than you. Check out the British. What do the British have at their top turret? Let's have a look-see. 360. That's 30 meters better than you. We won't go to the mediums this time. We'll just go straight with the heavies. The ARL-44. Now, does this thing have better view range than you? No, it has the same. So, you have probably the worst view range of the tier 6 heavies. Okay, that's not very good, and it doesn't actually get better with the radios as well. 440 with a 10 RK is not very good. When in comparison to, like I said, it's more in comparison to the others, so I'm just going to give you a realistic perspective. We'll go France last. The Americans get a tier 7 radio, which allows 480, so that's 40 meters better than you. The British, I know, get a tier 8 radio, because I've unlocked it, and it does a lot. It's 550. That's 110 better than you. Oh dear. For France, because we're just sticking at heavies, it's kind of embarrassing, but this is the one advantage the Frenchies get. They get a tier 10 radio, which gives them 750 signal range. Shit. Be careful when fighting French tanks. They can spot you for their scumbags. Yeah. And the armor, well, now we're going on to the armor, isn't that much of an improvement. In fact, it's kind of a downgrade. The KV1 has better armor than you. I'm sorry to say this, guys, but it's true. The KV1-S doesn't have good armor. It's got 75 at the front, 60 to the sides, and 60 to the rear. And the frontal armor, the turret upgrade does help, of course, is not that much better. 100 to the front, 90 to the sides, 90 to the rear. Now, there isn't... you could say there's sloping on the front. I have bounced a number of shots off this. I'm not saying these are all common, but they're not so bad. It's not so bad that you get penetrated easily like a tiger, but it's still very much not very good. You can easily get penned from the sun. And if we're going to look at weak points whilst we're on armor, this massive under glacius here, this is by far like the #1 target I've had for KV1S's. When I was in my VK3601H, when I was going through that, this was my target. And here. Here isn't as much because technically you could potentially bounce to the top here, but generally speaking, this frontal bit here, this is a very bad, this is, you can easily get penned from the front here. Obviously, sides of there, you've got the tracks. Engine as well, if you shoot that side there, the engine, you can hit it and set it alight. Fuel cans, although they look impressive, I do not believe they actually cause fuel problems. However, I have had fuel problems in the past with this thing, so for equipment which we'll go on to later, there may be some recommendations. But yeah, generally speaking, this thing can't take too many hits. So you may be asking yourself, why would anyone want this tank? It's a piece of garbage. You've only got so much things, you've only got a few advantages over a few vehicles, and, you know, that's only speed. What kind of use did this tank have? Well, technically, it's got 2 uses. And this is kind of... I guess I kind of could say it's kind of like this when you've got one style of gun, but the real reason why this tank is so much more, I would say, balanced out is because of this massive D25T gun. I mean, I can't zoom out enough. I wish I could to be able to show you the full grandeur, but put it in this perspective. This thing is very much noticeable in firefights. Well, slugfests. This is the reason why tanks will back away from you when you aim at them. They know that you've only got a few, they know that it's got a terrible aiming time, but they are terrified. I have had occasions where I've turned my turret to a smaller tank and he has backed away. And it is a great feeling. Thumbs up on that one. But yeah, so that's how pretty much devastating this thing can be. But when I say this tank has 2 uses, this is what I mean. Because when you go into the research tree, it's kind of the last thing before the IS you want to unlock. And as you can see, there are loads of different styles of guns out there, and unfortunately you've got to grind your way through 2 very terrible guns before you can even get the KV85 turret. It's very, 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 very poor design, unfortunately, with this side. It's quite a letdown, considering that you've been through the KV1 and you've got the 85mm, and that thing served you proud till you unlocked the KV1-S, and then for you to finally have the KV1-S, only to discover that this is all you get for your troubles. It's no surprise that it's more of a common sight to see derp gunners using the U11, because, you know, and I was actually kind of fortunate, because although there is 276mm, this actually is a tie-in to medium tanks. You see that tank there, the T-34, which is really cheap for some reason this time. I wonder. The T-34, well, the T-34 has the same gun at the end, the S-54, than the, you know, the the KV1-S. Yeah, if you haven't gone down the heavy line, if you haven't got down the medium line, you will have a very bad day, because you'll have to grind with this thing, and it is by far the worst 85. This is the worst gun you could ever possibly have. If you know, unfortunately have to use this thing, this is by far the worst gun you could have on this vehicle. It's kind of an insult, really, but, yeah. So you'll have to find a way of grinding through to the top. So, I digress. What I really need to do, though, is actually to show you what it's like when you don't have the gun. So, this is... Now, in games, there are, like, tons of occasions where if you come across and you are encountering a KV1-S, there is often a question us non-KV1-S drivers think of. Does he have the gun? Now, if you're a first time, you won't really know what the thing is, but generally speaking, does he have the gun? And this is often a happy sight to see. Yes, it's 85mm worth of power, but it also means, oh, thank God, I can't die in one shot for most occasions. So let's now have a look at the gun comparison, and to find out what kind of roles a KV1-S would play in the battlefield. Now, before you get the D25T, this would be probably a wise choice to go for. I know some people out there just go for the derp gun, and until they get the puche cannon, that's okay. I personally disagree with derp guns. I don't like them. I think they're really scummy. I think if a tank needs an 80... Some tanks, they do need them, but not all of them. I think it would be nice if you could only get derp guns on specific tanks, because then that way people are forced to actually use the gun. But for those who actually do use proper guns, they will find that the D5T is actually quite a decent gun. It's got 120mm worth of pen, which is quite nice. It has the same accuracy as a derp cannon. Well, sorry, not derp cannon. Sorry, I meant to go puche cannon. There you go. The puche cannon. So, when you get that gun, you'll no doubt have become accustomed to this gun. The aiming time is quite terrible at 2.9 seconds. But that said, you're in a heavy tank, you're in a Russian tank, so by now you're kind of used to the ridiculously long aiming times. It's not handy, but it'll do the job. And it generally is a decent gun, but the tactics that you've got to use when using this gun are very different than when you use this gun. So, if you've grinded your way all the way through that, and actually I'm going to do this cool thing, I'm going to have a battle in between to show you what it's like with this gun, and then we'll kind of pretend that's kind of we're going to pretend it's a grind through. So we're in port. I'm probably badly tiered. No, I'm top tier. Yay! So, now, the players on the enemy team will probably be really happy to note that I don't have the puche cannon. But you can still be effective on the battlefield. You just have to be different. You just have to apply different tactics. Right, so you can see two derp gunners on the left and right. So normally, however, what happens, and you can see there's a derp gunner on there, so you know. Unfortunately, the derp gunners are everywhere, which is a shame. I really wish there wasn't as many derp gunners, but you know me, moaning, groaning doesn't solve anything. Please have one non-derp gunner. I think... No, that guy has a proper gun. That's good. Right, so yeah. The generals... I mean, to be honest, the general tactics of the KV1-S driver, that, you know, for the one recommended tactics... If I learnt English, that would be even better. Is that you've got to... For this one, at least, you've got to stay out of the slugfests. You really cannot afford to take heavy fire, otherwise you will die relatively quickly. It is a major shame, but don't forget, this thing has very, very light armor, and it has by far the most open of weak spots. So, whenever you come to engagements, says he going towards a slugfest. Okay, so there's lots of heavies that way. I am going to be clever. But then there is only one tank over there. There is an AFK KV1, so we're gonna have to grin and bear it. That player at the top is by far a legendary dude. If we can knock out one of their arty, because they've got three, we got two. Come on, get their arty, get their arty, get their arty. I think it's the T50. Come on. Come on. Right. So let's just see what's going on. Those guys, surprisingly, all of their tanks are in the tracks, and they still haven't actually showed themselves. Luckily, however, we have knocked out one of their vehicles. This is absolutely brilliant. So now they've got one less artillery to help them out with. There's their Churchill, marks Churchill 1, and bang! A good solid damage hit. A mistake that many Churchill players make, I will be honest with you. Bang! Another good damage roll. And unfortunately, we have lost Panzer IV. And finally, the enemy team has taken out our T-50. Now, I am doing very stupid maneuvers. Oh, fucking no, P99, moaning, groaning, moaning, groaning. Don't you just love it when a player says, "Oh, dang, well, that was a good game. Well done, sir." Said no player ever. Right, so, technically that guy's hiding behind cover. I really want him to shoot it, but bang! Oh, would you look at that? Cover's exposed, and he hasn't noticed it. Tunnel vision, bang! Now he has. Yes, Mr. Churchill, just stand still while I bang, and there's a kill. So we are winning quite effectively, but as you can see, I'm staying as far away from the fight as possible. Not because I'm a coward, it's simply because my armor just cannot take the power of most vehicles. But that said, this gun is amazingly effective. Now more effective than ever, now because of the patch 8.6 update, which means that most guns are a lot more accurate. Little tip, aim for the underneath the train carriage. Bang! I hit his tracks. There's a Jagdpanzer now coming up his way. I need to be careful. Just hide. He is very low tank. Right, he's made the mistake of firing. I made the mistake of hitting the wrong bit. I need to run. I'm probably going to get shot. Oh, no, I'm not. Right, aim for the turret of the Churchill. Bang! Unfortunately, I might die. Ah, bugger. So this is the disadvantage of having this gun, is the fact that you are no longer have an advantage against most vehicles. Ah, bugger. That's cool, we are getting backup at least. Ooh, can I get the kill? Bang! There is a vehicle, there is 2 kills for me. So as you can see, I was really struggling in a slugfest with that Churchill Mark 7, and he's the same tier as me. If I had the puche cannon, that guy would have been a lot more cautious, and so would that Jagdpanzer player. But because I didn't have the puche cannon, I sadly, oh dear, the SU-100 definitely owns that fight. Because of my disadvantage in caliber, the... hello. Oh shit. Back up. Ooh, can I make this shot? Bang! I do! Right, so that's 3 kills. Now what we're going to do now is just wait for my French ally to come over and surprise the bastard. Hello? Bang! Solid hit. Probably did some damage to his engine. Can I get the little bastard? Bang! Nope. Can I get a shot in? Yes! He is down. So, there you go. So that's a good match. I mean, you know, I wasn't as effective as I could be. I did take some significant damage from that Churchill Mark 7. And I was about as effective as a medium tank. The only advantage I had... oh, no. Type T-34. No. Bang. Solid hit to the side. I think he's given up. It would appear that he is not resisting. So, yeah, the bang! Nice solid hit to the side there. He probably is going to die before I get a shot in again. Yeah, that guy's completely... oh! Wow! Bang. Yes! 5 kills. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry about that, guys. That was ridiculously funny. Wow. Okay, so it would appear that the patch 8.6 has made a couple more. Okay, okay, serious. So, as you can see, 5 kills. That's 5 kills there. Very impressed I am. I actually ended up being top tier tank, and this is how effective an 85mm worth of gun. It wasn't as effective back in patch 8.5 and before other patches, obviously, and that meant that it was actually less effective than it actually could have been. However, because of patch 8.6, you now have another means to be rather effective in the battlefield. However, as you saw when upon engaging that Churchill, my gun couldn't do a single thing to that Churchill. It was only because the Churchill was being engaged by multiple other tangos, and that the other player, where is he? The VK3001D player saved my arse. He literally saved my arse there. So the tactics for this thing probably weren't. I probably didn't highlight them as much as I probably should, but we'll go over them. Which are, you've got to be extremely careful about going into engagements, because the confidence of the enemy players will go up when they know you don't have the gun. It's just a sad fact of life. I mean, in that match, I could have potentially died because I couldn't have reloaded fast enough, but at the same time, the other players would have been like, ah, shit, okay, he's got the gun. And they'll be a lot more cautious around me, because it only takes about 2 good damage roll shots to kill the Jagdpanzer. I could have killed the Churchills relatively quickly. Generally speaking, I could have killed a lot of vehicles relatively quickly. So, generally speaking, it's, you know, it's quite important. Oh, I knocked his gunner out as well. Not bad. And I took his track. So, yeah, that's kind of how it is now. That's how it would be if you didn't have the gun. But let's say, for example, because that was... No, just repair. Just repair. Now, let's just say, for example, that you finally grinded your way up to the top, and you finally have the puche cannon. And you're like, yay! Go to the depot, get rid of the gun. You're so happy about the thing being gone, and you're like, yay! It's gone! Oh, don't sell that. D25T. Okay. Anyway, so you're like, yay! It's gone! I don't have to worry about it! I can actually use it again! And you're like super excited. Now this is the part where players really need to start learning about this gun, because this gun is not easy to use. And I can tell you why, because I grew so used to, in Germany, using the L71, the L56, if that's the case, yes, the L56, all of which were 88mm. In fact, it was only until the Tiger II that I finally got the power of the 100 and something millimeter. But that was before I got my hands on the KV1-S D25T gun. Now the gun is very much improved since patch 8.6, but it still doesn't mean that you can just bugger about with it, because the tactics for this tank now completely change. Whereas with the other gun, the D85T, you have to be careful, cautious. You've got to be more of a sort of medium tank. You don't really commit to engagements as much. With this, ironically, you've got to put that thing on its head, because you've got to be in the engagement. You've got to really if you're at top tier at least, you've really got to push your team, because you're the power behind it. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to go in there and get the kills, but what this does is you do tons of damage. This thing does, as you can imagine, 122mm worth of gun. It does crap tons of damage. So what that means is that you will basically drain the enemy heavy tanks of their health, meaning that your tanks can go around them and knock them out. That is generally the basic style of this gun. Now, there are many different ways of how people can achieve this. Some people really just want to get the kills for this thing, and, you know, by all means, fair enough. But with the gun itself, you can actually earn, when you unlock it, a fair amount of credits in or out of premium. So, without further ado, let's go into the battle. Actually, no, we won't go into the battle yet, because I need to go talk about the equipment first, because then we'll have a few games like that. But still, onto the equipment. Now, with all that said, what would be the best kind of equipment to work with this gun? Well, as you can know, the tactics are power, potential to get lots of kills, well, potential to kick ass, take names, and, you know, do all that jazz. So what would you want? Well, obviously, you want to improve ventilation. I had that for this vehicle, but I gave it to the IS, and it's the same deal for me. You really, really, really want to get into some ventilation because it makes your crew much better. Everything works a lot faster. Okay, well, not a lot, but it works faster, and it just generally is one of those most incredibly handy things. The second, obviously, large tank gun, caliber tank gun rammer. You really want one of those for this vehicle because the reload time on this gun, it says it here really, the firing rate is like 3.75. If you have that, which basically is equivalent to about 15.5 seconds worth of reload, that is an exceptionally long time. Especially in the middle of a slugfest. You do not want to miss your shot when it comes to a slugfest. Which is why you've got to be extra careful, even though you've got the cannon. But as you can see, the penetration and damage is what makes this thing a hell of a lot nicer to use. And the aiming time, once again, is terrible, but if you're a Russian player, you'll no doubt be used to terrible aiming times by the time you get to this cannon. The third one is always up to you. I mean, you can either have engine durability, because as you could see, my engine got knocked for 6 when I got shot in there, so cyclone filter. You may want to have fuel tanks with CO2 because, unfortunately, once again, my fuel tanks got hit as well. You may want to have wet ammo rack class 2 to be able to defend yourself because it doesn't take much to knock an ammunition rack in this tank, which is a bit of a shame. You could have a toolbox if you want, but I've never really I've never really thought of it as being a major use for this thing, in my opinion. But whatever. However, one of the things I would highly recommend is an enhanced gun laying drive. This means that your aiming time is reduced by about, well, I don't know how much by, but put it in this perspective. This thing could work just as effectively, if you want it to be, as a sort of somewhat shittier version of the D25T. So a faster firing cannon like this definitely makes a difference on the battlefield. I actually had an occasion where I was shooting in a slugfest. I shot my round and I was just about finishing my reload when someone came round the bend thinking I was still reloading. Now that was a very stupid thing for him to do because you should never go around the corner when you think, unless you know they've just fired, you should never just charge around the bend. But he did anyway, so he came around the bend thinking he was like going to be an all hero and everything. I shoot him and he's like 420 health down, and he therefore gets shot by my ally. And he's all raging and all gurring, of course, but that's his own stupid fault. But then that said also, that's kind of a cool deceptionary thing, because with an enhanced gun laying drive and an large caliber tank gun rammer and a ventilation shaft, I was able to reload and fire effectively on that guy relatively quickly. That's really cool. Now, hello, why do I not have that? Intriguing. Oh, that's why, because I didn't repair it. Duh. But yeah, so for the crew skills before we go into the battle, for your commander, definitely get the Sixth Sense. But probably what would be a good idea is to put either recon or repairs, because as they are a skill, it comes into effect automatically, and you can train it up, which means your tank becomes a little bit better over the course of the battle. Once you've trained that up, start training something else, and then drop that skill, replace it with Sixth Sense, and you'll have Sixth Sense 100% unlocked. I don't exactly know how that works. I've only recently discovered it myself, but it is immensely handy. For the gunner, one skill I really recommend is Snapshot. Snapshot just improves accuracy during rotation. However, that is an immensely handy thing considering the fact that the gun that you've got is terrible for accuracy. So if that means you don't have to worry so much about the accuracy being way out of dodge when you turn your turret, I'll have that. Sorry. I'll have that I'll have that. That's a damn good skill. When it comes to a secondary skill, Deadeye would be my next highly recommended thing. But, like I said with the first one, get either repairs or firefighting. Mainly repairs is the top one, because if you get tracked, which you will it's exceptionally handy for someone to be on repairs. Then, of course, once you get it to 100% or more, then get Deadeye, which means it will increase the chance for the gunner to cause critical damage. Now, basically, even though it's kind of looks a bit confusing, generally it just means that you'll have the better chance of knocking someone's gunner out, someone's tracks out, someone's engine out. I noticed the difference definitely when you start getting that skill. It's exceptionally handy. I've had it on the Tiger. For the driver, now of course you could potentially have smooth ride, but to be honest, I think what I'll do is I'll swap that skill. 10,000 or 79,000 is kind of a fair price. So this is what I'm doing now. Is I'm going to drop a skill to try and train something else. So you can actually, here you go, a little training for you. If you want to drop a skill, you go into this little menu and you click onto drop, and you can either have it for free, a bit like when you're training a crew, and as you can see, it lowers the amount of skill, because basically you've been training for this, and then all of a sudden, pop, you're gone. So now, this is 10,000, which is quite nice. So now I just drop that, and I'm now at 79% of a free skill. So now I can select whatever the hell I want. So I can either go for clutch braking, which is what I will go for, or I can go for anything else, but what I will go for is clutch braking. And now I've selected clutch braking, which means that I'm now 79% better in... I'm now 79% better at clutch braking, which means I don't have to spend as much time researching it before I get on to my next skill. But clutch braking is in a sense a very handy thing. Then what you want to do, because you know why not, is go for a preventative maintenance. This basically means that your tank has less chance of setting a fire or less chance of it's basically a less chance of getting caught on fire. And this thing has a big arse engine, so people will go for that and possibly try and get a flame shot. It doesn't happen often, but whatever. For the radio operator doesn't have that many handy skills, apart from maybe, I don't know, relaying. You either have situational awareness, which extends view range. Now, I don't know whether that means it makes your view range better, so you don't have to worry as much. I personally don't know. But I'm training it in just in case because it's a handy skill. And then after that, I'll definitely recommend repairs. Don't bother for camouflage because look at the size of this thing. Do you honestly expect this to have good camouflage? Except if you're in a bush which is like as tall as a house. And for loader, well, repair skill obviously, as I've done, but then go into safe stowage afterwards because this is a perk. So that means that your shells will not explode after someone dings them, and you know it very much helps, because if you have your ammo rack knocked out halfway through a game and you've already used your repair kit to fix something else, that 15-second reload or 13-second reload becomes over 20 seconds, and that is just impossible to work with. It's basically, you could consider yourself knocked out of the game, because otherwise you're not going to be able to commit too much afterwards. So take care when firing in battle. Now, with all that said, let's actually get into the battlefield. That's lots of words. Now, this is kind of a mid-section sort of thing, but even though my tiering isn't that good, I can still do a fair amount of damage upon my opponent. Now, of course, because I'm in a lower tier, I can't really dominate and go blarg at them, but that still doesn't mean I can't, you know, make an effective maneuver. Hey, Storg with my camo on it. Nice. I do love the Storg. It's such a nice tank. Anyway. Good luck. Have fun. Being all friendly. I don't know whether that jinxed me or it doesn't. I mean, I'm just praying that you have a decent player. And we're back. Right, so that was kind of bad. I just had a few of my worst games today. Oh, I completely had a terrible... I couldn't believe how bad my luck was on that one. Oh, Jesus Christ. I forgot it was an event. So, yeah. Anyway, on to more positive attitudes. We are in a relatively good tiered match, actually. We're only facing tier 7s. And also, we have a very stupid player out there who is just being an arsehole. Events for you. What can you do? I really get annoyed sometimes, because the thing is, what I find frustrating the most about making videos nowadays is you get so many dumb players doing stupid things. And I mean, I know some players out there actually don't honestly know what they're, what's going on, and they don't like what they're doing. But then you got douchebags like that who think themselves the whole bloody world is all kind of shining out of their sodding arse. And it really hacks me off, because it basically means that whilst I'm trying to commentate, I'm also seeing how a douchebag really works. I mean, seriously, Richard Attenborough, come onto World of Tanks, you will find such a diverse species of human. You know, humus dicus, as they say. Homo dicus or whatever. Bang! Anyway, oh, that was lucky. So, we luckily only took a shot to the gun, but we also zapped that guy's health, which is another reason why the KV1-S is on top of, tiering-wise at least, of an M6. However, the problem is he does have better view range, so I'm just going to pop, ski. Oh, I paid for that one there, so I'm going to back up a little. I mean, when you can't see, don't bother. I know some people out there saying, oh, but you got to try, you got to try and push and all that. Doesn't matter. If you can't see where they're coming from, don't engage. Don't do anything, don't even try and spot. Just wait until someone else spots for you, because otherwise you're going to be shot at first, and you're never going to have any fun. We're actually having a damn good match now, which is quite relieving. And hopefully, if luck is on our side, we should be able to spot those guys. Bingo, there's a KV1-S, and that guy unfortunately paid the price for going out first. KV1-S priority. Bang! Nice solid damage on the side of him there. There's a reason why never going out first is a good idea, because unfortunately you die very quickly. The 3001P. Okay, I'm taking fire. I'm gonna complain about that guy because he's hacking me off. I'm just gonna put spam. Good job, mate. I'm being shot at, and the guys are aiming at my tracks, but so far no damage at the moment. So clearly that's a good sign for my teammates to come and help. Ah! Sod it. Oh no, I can't fix it, can I? Bollocks. The M6 player is a very good player, because he's being able to keep my tracks down, keeping me distracted, or keeping doing stuff, and also being a pain in the arse to me, so I'm going to try and pop a shot into it before I get... Nope, the M6 player is definitely a good player. Kudos to that guy, he's actually doing very well. Because I have much more powerful gun than him, he's just focusing on knocking out my treads. But now he's fired his last round. Bang! You're mine. Right, cool. Just going to mark the TDs on the map. Ooh, and that guy just got destroyed. It does fascinate me to see such stupid people alive some days. Anyway, not the players in this game. The player team on this game, absolutely well done. Kudos to this team. They've actually done a relatively good job. Well done, M6 player. Very well done. You were an effective pain in the arse tactic move. But that was good. That annoyed me, but I know exactly why you did it, and I would have done the exact same thing. So, well done. Kudos to you. There is a scumbag. Hiding from me. Oh, and he wants my blood, doesn't he? Okay, that guy's just fired. The other guy's going to be reloading, so I'm going to make a push to try and knock that pummel out. Scumbag, gonna kill a scumbag! So as you can see, the whole game now has completely changed because of my look at that. Characters reacting already towards... Tanks are already reacting, and there you go, just kept the guy spotted. So as you can see, the whole game changes so quickly from that. I mean, it's a shame that people like that Manis guy are around, but then that said also, he's actually good artillery. Still, no reason to actually start blazing out the racist comments. Just saying. Anyway, so let's go into another match, and hopefully we'll have less stupid people in that. That said, that was an immensely good game. Kudos to both sides there, as both sides were very good. Now, here we go. This is kind of interesting. It's nice when you see really crappy... Yes, it's nice when you see artillery, and they're very small, and there's only one of them. But that said, though, this is a KV1-S party, so this should be interesting. Now, as I'm the top tier tank, I really should head up to the top of the map here, along this line, and start engaging and doing heavy slugfest stuff. However, I do not wish to do this, because then there may be tanks down south. And if most players who go up there, and I'll be moving up to here, taking side shots at whoever goes along here. It's an effective tactic which works wonders when the enemy team doesn't know that you're there. So 1, 2... Whoa! What? Where are you going? Sorry, mate. Just dinged him. Watch where you go. I mean, you could say I should watch where I'm going, but technically he should be careful about bigger tanks. It's a 50-50. I know sometimes there are big dick players out there who will literally shoot it. Who will literally bump into you and obviously not care. But then that said, the little guy's got to be careful too, because, you know, my tank's heavier than you, so I will obviously do damage. Now, as I thought, the KV1-S players aren't going to the slugfest zone. Hello? Right, I'm going to keep aiming. And shoots there! There's a good damage roll. Half the guy's health is now zapped. And he's obviously now paying attention to me. We have got an advantage though. The guy is now... He's gone. So there you go. There's an 810 hit point vehicle now completely annihilated. Just on the beat. The KV1 driver versus a KV1-S and a... Okay, so there's an 82, so priority target is... I'm just going to mark him. Oh, hello, there's a KV1-S. Time to go engage him. Is he facing right? Oh, no, he's aiming that way. Turn your turret. Side skirt. Roger Dodger, I'm on my way. Now, if the KV1-S driver is a greedy bastard, he'll go for the other guy, or is he going to go for me? Yes, he's not going to. Bang! Turning left. Okay, the Sturk player is doing some good crazy-ass driving. I'm going to focus my target on that other guy, because he is a priority. He's fired. I shoot. Bang! Yes, I'm being shot a lot by the other driver, but if I just back up a little, bang! There you go. Flame got me in the engine. Come on, reload. Could you fucking reload, please? Thank you. Good call on that driver, though. Did a very, very good job. But now I'm in a very bad position. Kudos to that player. He actually did a very good job. Hang on. Yeah, I'm already within one-shot range by any vehicle, so... Right. I've got to be extremely careful now because that 82 player is a very big threat to me. Oh, shit! Now, he is a very confident player, but can I get a one-shot? No, I'm dead. No, he misses! But I've got an extremely long reload, so I'm pretty much dead anyway. So, that's that done. But I did at least cause the distraction long enough. And I knocked out most of their KV1Ss. So, Panzersturm. Go in the fray and do that thing. Well done to the slug player, actually. Kudos to him. He actually did a very good job. He died in the process, but he definitely made my job a lot harder and gave his team a very good opportunity to kick ass, take names, and all that jazz. Kill the T-30 Type 34. Bang! There you go. He's turning. Right, so Just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Good job. He's now can't shoot at you without destroying the cover. He's in position. Now he's going to try and shoot. Good job. Kicking ass, taking names. You won't kill him, except if you aim for the turret. Aim for his turret. Well, the top half. And he's gone. But the game is pretty much over on that accord. So kudos to that Panzer player, and very well done to the Stug player, because he actually did phenomenally well. I'm quite surprised. Yes, fair enough, I do deserve the fine, because I did run into him. However, he should have paid a little bit more attention to what big vehicles were coming. Either way, doesn't matter. We did win, and we did a very good job. So, thumbs up. So, thumbs up. Absolutely well done. To both players. That Stug there did a fantastic job. Kudos to you, man. You did a very good job in that battle. Oh, actually, I can actually unlock the tank. What is it? Yeah, I can actually. I can unlock the KV3. So, where is he? There you go. Kill KV13 even. Unlock. Bang! My tank is now elite. What is that? Is that a medium tank? Oh, it is as well. Interesting. Oh, that actually gives me an opportunity to go to the T43 tank. But that said also, that's probably a cheaper option. Just saying. Oh, I know, you know, I remember now, there's a special event going on. So anyway, let's hope that those... Is it two? Anyway, guys, that'll be it for the video today. Hope you have enjoyed, at least, you know, okay, it wasn't the perfect 3 battles that I was anticipating, but the first one was very good. The second one was completely hilarious. No, the first one was completely hilarious and good. The second one was quite cool. And the third one, damn good tactics. Anyway, so, hope you enjoyed. I have got other World of Tanks videos on the way. And I've also got Rome Total War stuff. So if you like that kind of content, do let me know. If you guys could let me know in the comments as well about how I'm doing. Feedback is always essential, because otherwise I won't know on what bits I'm not doing so well at. So if I'm not doing so well on some bits, or I'm going too in-depth here, or whatever, or I don't have enough games, do let me know. So, that said, thank you very much for watching. This is Crap Hunter signing out.